actually, I go on the forums, and within an hour it's sorted because they are most of them. I'll say only one. I can't even remember that one. Have been have been just not common. So it took me, I think it took me a week to sort that out. It was on Google. But that was one error, and I am actually going to include that in here. So first I'd like to start off with something that David knows already, as I emailed him last night, which is the new BuzzTouch Learning app. It's basically, I'm just going to do a quick introduction. It's basically just meetups, webinars, and Buzzcast. Buzzcast isn't working at the moment, but this is on the App Store for free at the moment. So it's called BuzzTouch Learning, and that's what it looks like. So yeah, I'm quite excited, and I presume that David's quite excited about that. So I mean, yeah, I sent him an email, and this is basically any of the meetups that have been registered on the forums or any of the webinars, and Buzzcast hopefully actually be going to work soon. So that's that. So let me move on to the actual main presentation now. So here are a few of the errors which I'm going to present. So we first have so I think it's quite important to realize what you should do when an error occurs. You know, just what you should do in the steps that you should take. So I'll be spending a slide on that. And then we've got code signing error. Now I know this is very common, and you get this every time. Every person will get this every time if they don't do the code signing before. Then we've got lexical or preprocessor issue, which is kind of mg twitter xml parser.h. That's the error that you would get. And it's basically in iOS 5. This is the one that I had a bit of difficulty on. It's on iOS 5, and because it is Twitter sharing, and sometimes there's an error between that. I've only got that in a version 1.5 app, but I think it would be important to list that. We've got missing ARM6 architecture, which you'll get if you are trying to do if you're trying to target for iOS devices under 4.3. So, and I would recommend that. I would recommend going for like 3.0 even, so you can get iPhone 3G or original iPhone users. And then we've got BuzzTouch version 1.5 working with 4.5. There's a few here, a few more. So we've got archived application is not showing up in the organizer. I've had that once, and then there's another error that comes up, which is please make sure that you've set up a record for this application on iTunes Connect. Yeah, I had that very recently, but it's a very, very simple fix. It's not an error really, it's just saying you need to do this, and it's just clicking a button. It's that simple. iPod Touch and iPhone icon dimensions are 0 times 0 instead of being 72 times 72 or something. So an error comes up saying it doesn't meet the size requirements. And then the last one here is the app couldn't register the app name with the Bootstrap server. In fact, the actual name for that is it says couldn't register app name with the Bootstrap server, error unknown error code. Okay, so should I just kick off with the first one? So I'll just start off with firstly, so what should you do if an error occurs? So we have first thing, clean it. quit and relaunch the application, so that'd be Xcode, restart the computer if necessary. I'll do that last though, so actually that's in the wrong order. But I'd say try not to fiddle around with the source code, and I'll give you a quick demo why you shouldn't do this. And then if there were, and then try and re-download the source code. But remember, my tip says at the bottom, BuzzTouch has forums. Use them. They are very, very helpful. They've helped me out tons of times. So firstly, I shall demonstrate what you should do. So let's move over here and let's go to Xcode. I haven't so we're just going to open this. So I've made an errors app, and as far as I can see, it's not full of errors. Why is that coming up? Right, so and it opens up, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Come on. Oh, open it again. Right, okay, so here we go. So here it is. So firstly, what did I say in it? So clean it. So basically that's simply product at the top and clean. There you go. And it's as simple as that. That just kind of, I'll say, polishes out the blips. I wouldn't say it gets rid and then a little notice comes up. I wouldn't say it gets rid of all the errors. I just say it polishes the blips. And even that is a bit being kind to it. So of course, quit and relaunch it. So here, obviously we could quit and then relaunch it, simply like that. So then you'd open it up again, like so. That might just get rid of some things. Right, try not to fiddle around with the source code. I'll tell you why, because if you suddenly go and start going into, I don't know, the app delegate, and then you find, well, let's try and run this. Hopefully, I tried to make an error in this. Like a demo, a bit build. Right, so you can see lots of yes, right. So here's my MG Twitter error coming up. So what's tempting to do is to just highlight it and delete it. And I've done that many times, but look, now that you see, now that the whole source code doesn't make sense, it can't find what this thing was, so instead you end up with 3 errors, and that just makes it worse. And then if you try and delete the whole thing, then all the other pages can't recognize that page, and it all ends up as, to be honest, a complete disaster. So I'll just leave it first. Try not to play around with it. That's quite important. Unless you're a top-notch programmer, just don't play around with it, because I've done that and I've had to re-download the source code because I've messed it up so badly. And of course, if you have messed it up, then yeah, just re-download the source code. So that's what I was to say about that. Remember, of course, BuzzTouch does have forums, and they are very helpful, I find. There's many people out there who want to help you, and you know, and I'll be happy to help if there's an issue I could help you with. So the next I'm going to go on to is the code signing error. So let's move to this one. Okay, so the code signing error is basically you haven't set it to sign. So basically what would happen was it would say don't code sign. So let me just try and get that for you.
Excuse me, Thomas?
Yeah.
As you're doing this, we're having a difficult time seeing the screen when you're in Xcode. Can you make it full screen?
Okay. I could make it, yeah. So like that. Is that better? There.
It appear there you go. And
Is that kind of quite good?
I think it's better than it was. Susan, is that better? I think it's better than it was. So if you could proceed, that'd be fine.
Well, I've made it full screen. Of course, I've got a 27-inch that might look smaller on the text might look smaller on your computers. But I'm sorry if I'm rushing this a bit. I've got quite a lot to do.
Okay.
So this is basically what would happen with where am I? There we go. There's the keynote. So what would basically happen is you would get this, and it's because you haven't signed it up for anything. It'll work in the simulator, it just won't work on an iOS device, or you won't be able to publish it. So first of all, you go to this kind of box folder thing here, and then you go to the areas, and then under targets, I think it is, yeah, it's under targets. Then you go up to the top bar and go to build settings. Here you'll see it says don't code sign. This is where it's going wrong, because the whole thing is about the code signing. So what you need to do is you need to just pop that onto your provisioning profiles, basically. So for debugging, I'll use my developer one, and for my distribution, I'll use my distribution one. And it's as simple as that, really. And hopefully, I can't test it out now because I've got other errors, but hopefully that should now work. So, should I go back to the slideshow? What's happening now? My mouse is literally gone. Excuse me. There we go. Right. So yeah, and also you are going to have to make sure that you have your developer and distribution passes in the iTunes provisioning, the developer provisioning portal. So, shall we move on to the next one, which is this one, of course, the lexical or preprocessor error, and it comes up with mg-twitter xml parser.h. So, here we go back to project, and this is I think it's down here somewhere. Yeah, right. So it's in the project one this time, build settings, and yes, here it says header search paths, and this is where you need to add something. Now I've got the text ready. Move that. So if I just do it there, just open the text, header search paths. So this is the text that you need to copy. I'll just should I just pop that onto the thing actually? So here it is. If you can see that, no, I don't know if you can see that message that I just popped on, but never mind. If you can't, so basically we'll go to keeps doing that. So basically here we just paste it in, and then I would make sure, hopefully this should now work without any errors if I just run that. Right, so we've still got the same error, and sometimes I do get this where it just never quite works until you do it like for quite a bit of time. But I found if you just delete that and add in, yes, that's it. You add a new one, you add a new field if you like, and then we add that, remove that, and pop that in. Did I select this one? no, there. So here, so if we just get rid of them and then add them, you can kind of see where this is going. Got a few left, like so. Right, did I select that one? No, I didn't. Okay, and right, so let's delete that one and put a new one in. Warren, by the way, just something that came to my mind. Are you actually recording this?
Yes, I am. I've got the
Okay.
recorder set up.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so now, hopefully, there. Right, so now if I run it into the simulator, right, you see, now I get this often where it just doesn't work, but you have to keep entering the same thing for it to work. You just have to keep going on and on and on. And if that doesn't work, then we've probably got a few problems. However, that normally works, but through my experience, it does actually do this. You enter and enter and enter it, and it doesn't work the first, second, third. It'll probably take you 15-20 minutes to do if you have this issue. So a little bit annoying. It's not working right now. Don't know why it wouldn't. Is it? Yeah, it's still got it. Okay, that's okay. You just need to keep repeating that. So, shall we move on to the next one, which is ARM6 or ARMv6, the missing architecture. Now, yeah, I was kind of counting that this would work, so I could then demonstrate this to you. It may work, I'm not sure. No, it won't. It won't let me archive it. Okay, but basically, what would happen was you would you would use this, but basically you would archive it, and then when you validated it, it would go to, it would say here's an error. There's ARM6 architecture is recommended or something, and it is pretty much mandatory that you do it, otherwise it won't get submitted to even iTunes Connect. So first, I think we go to errors, and then we go to, yes, right. Do you see here at the very top? It says architectures. Okay, now it may be folded up like that, so you just open it up. And then here you have architectures again. So basically, what you need to do is you need to get rid of that. This thing here that says standard 32-bit, get rid of it. You don't want it. That's what's causing the problem. Now, as far as I know, you do ARM7. I haven't done this in a long time, but I think so. It's like this. And you create a new field and create ARM6. Now, it might be the same line, I'm not sure. But hopefully, yes, and then it converts it automatically into the same line. That should do the trick. Now, I've never been in a position where that hasn't worked. So, and you need to make sure it's the same for debug and release. So I'll just go into architectures as general to do that. Now that should do the trick. Now, of course, if I was if I did get that lexical error sorted, which it never does, by the way, it never does, then I'd be able to show you what would happen. But it is simply you validate it, and I'd recommend validating it before you published it. And it says you should use ARM6 architecture as well as ARM7. So that's that. Okay, let's the next one is very common, very, very common indeed. It's simply getting gainbuzztouch version 1.5 to work with Xcode 4.5 or the latest version, which I think is Xcode 4.5.1. this is, well, I mean, I'll show you what it looks like when you open up a version 1.5 app onto the what do you call it, onto Xcode 4.5. I'm going to need to go out of full screen for this, so I'm sorry about that. But simply, let's get that was running in Xcode 4.4.1, so that's the one before 4.5. Now this errors app that I made is actually a version 1.5 app. So let's try and open it up in 4.5.1 without doing anything at all to it. So I'll quit the old version. Right, so we'll go straight to the simulator. Maybe no, not that one. Maybe we just go to an iOS 5 simulator for the moment. And immediately what should happen is, yeah, 2 errors, well actually 8 errors have come up. And I don't know if you can see this, maybe if I go into system preferences and I might be able to zoom in. I think this works. So what's this? Right, is this clear for any of you guys? I'm not sure. Maybe it's best to just stick with the original display.
Actually, that's much better.
Was it? Okay. So I'll scale it up to there. I think this is a MacBook Pro kind of size now. I don't know. I think that there was. No, okay, there wasn't. So no, okay. So basically, yeah, suddenly the format's become weird for me. But there's tons of errors. I don't know if you can see here, and it's all because of version 1.5 is not compiling with Xcode 4.5. So what you need to do is basically what you have to do. I'll explain this a short way. You create a dummy version 2.0 BuzzTouch app and download the code. You then overwrite the files, and then you change the Xcode settings. I'll show that to you because I think it is that description isn't really good enough. So let's just are there any? Right, so just let's take this one. This is the app that I used for creating a refresh how-to. So yeah, I'll say that you just put a few screens in there. I think it says, yeah, so I've got a few screens in there, a few plugins, and just download the source code. So if I do this on a different desktop, it might be a bit easier. Okay. So hopefully it should be in. Is it in yet? Don't know. Is it downloaded? Oh no, it hasn't. I didn't download it. Bit dumb with me. Right. So here we go. Let's open it up. So here it is. So let's just put it on the desktop for now. Okay. So let's first of all, what we'll need to do is basically just make a version 2.0 app and just with a few screens download it. So now we'll need to let's just close this because it's not going to help us if we have it open. And then we literally get the two open. So There we go, like so. And then layout. Right, so actually let's go this way because it's easier for me. So you just, I think, just transport the let me just see. Yeah, so we transport the layout folder into here and replace it. Okay. Now you want to replace the app delegate files, the .h and the .m. So I think that's where would that be? That would be config. There we go. And here. So this here on the right is the version 2.0 app, and this here on my left is the version 1.5 app. So literally we just drag those across, if it does it. And now you notice here, because these are different app names, it doesn't matter at all, to be honest, if they're different app names, but it just moves over. You need to delete these ones as well, otherwise they'll just confuse the whole thing. So let's just drag those down to the trash. Okay. Now we need to replace every instance of your old app name to the new app name. Now there are hundreds of files, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files, and hundreds of texts. So what I recommend you use is an app called Arasis Replace in Files. I'm currently on the where is it? There we go. It looks like this. Some of you, it is a paid app, and I'm getting a notice that that my trial will expire in 2 days' time. So there I have it. And to basically get your old app folder, so here it is. Actually, I might want to just move that. So it's not in my downloads folder anymore. No, it isn't. So let's just drag the folder in, of course, bearing in mind that this is, just take that out and drag that in. Okay. So basically, we need to find every thing that says errors and replace it with this refiche button. That is obviously a bit of a typo by me. And this will go through all the files and it'll look through all the text, and it won't replace it, it'll just find them at the moment. So look, so here, I don't know if you can see this, but here we have all of these files in my errors app, which have got the errors name to it. So, and simply there are 226 files, and these aren't the main files. You know, you go into it and then you've got more. So better to do it this way. Pay, I think it's $2 this app. It's not a lot. $2, which is about, for UK people, it's about £1.20, and for Europeans it's about, what, €1.50. So it's, you know, it's really not a lot. And then now we just press replace all. Simple as that. Replace all. Okay, so now it's replaced it. So hopefully this should be it. Fingers crossed. When I open it now in Xcode 4.5, or 4.5.1 actually. Now then, yeah, this comes up. My Mac 64-bit. It's kind of quite annoying when that happens, but it happens all the time. So you simply have to go to the build settings architectures again. So build settings, yeah, I think it's there. Architectures, and then now, of course, this whole thing that I did is kind of valid for the other one, but for this one, I think we change it to ARM7. Okay, like so, I think. And then we change the build architectures only to yes, with active architecture only to yes. Okay. You do have to change things, so it has to change from 3 to 4.3, for instance, because now you're eliminating the ARM6. It is generally a bit annoying, and you go up to here and change that as well to 4.3. Yes, it is a bit of a nuisance. And then now, hopefully, we just quit it and then open it up. Hopefully, oh no, it's still coming back. To be honest, I've only actually had this issue once before, and I've managed to just do it by trial and error. But most of the time, it doesn't actually do this. So I wasn't actually expecting this. So you know, this bit here does need to stay as our project name because that is the name that you had signed up. So yeah, you would need to go through all of the things like that. And actually, I've just read the tutorial about making a version 1.5 for iOS 6, and yes, you do need to have a 4-inch screen or a screenshot for a launch image for this to go away. So I haven't got an iPhone 5 or an iPod Touch, I won't be able to do that right now. However, you should be able to just go onto the how-tos and you'll find this document, which was created by, let me just check, Rohan, and is very, very helpful. Yeah, so that's that. This shouldn't come up. Bit weird that it came up on mine, but hopefully it won't come up. And well, fingers crossed it doesn't come up. And if it does, then just read Rohan's document, and that should do the trick. So let's move on back to here. So let me just so now we shall move on. So here we have archived application is not showing up in the organizer. Something that I've had quite a few times. And to be honest, it's a very simple solution. It's because there's Xcode. I closed it. Let's just use the 2.0 app for now because it's just more up to date. It's got the latest stuff, so it should be better to use. So let's just set that to there. And it simply is when you build it, it doesn't actually. When you build it, it doesn't actually archive it when you and that's simply for one major reason. Let's see if it comes up here as well. Does it? No, none of it's coming up. Oh yeah, that's the errors one. But here, it's very simply when you go to product and you try and archive it. Obviously, I haven't set up any provisioning profiles for this app, so it won't work. However, when you archive it, you shouldn't really do it straight away. You should build for archiving, and that just looks at the archive before you archive it. After that, you can archive it, and that should be good to go. So that is good. Right, okay. So here's one. iTunes Connect, and it says when you validate it or when you distribute it, it says please set up a record for this application. Now that's a very simple thing to do, and it's simply a click. So you're just one click away. It's not an error at all. It's just something that I see very common. So let's first go to iTunes Connect. Okay, right, so I'm signing under my thing. I made a little app that I wasn't going to publish. It's just for you guys, just for you guys. Okay, so basically, when you view the details, everything's you think when you make the app on iTunes Connect, it should be all ready to go. And you match everything up, so you match the bundle ID and everything like that to the Xcode project. You match the version number, the build number, whatever. Everything matches up, and then it comes up to the point where you validate it or distribute it. It says, and it will say this: please set up a record for this application. Okay, now all you do is you open up your app for one, so you go to manage applications, open up the app that you're going to be using, view the details, and simply it's this button here, ready to upload binary. The only reason why that message will come up that you need to set up a record is because you haven't done that. So once you click it and you press no, save it, and that's it. That is it now. Now, do you notice the status has now changed to waiting for upload? So now it's waiting. Before it said ready to upload. Now it says waiting for upload because now it's waiting for you to press the distribute button, and woof, off it goes. So of course this app is not going to be published. It was just for you guys, and that's something I see over and over again on the forums. So I just thought, you know what, just I'll pop that in the presentation. Okay, so that's that. So moving on to the next one. iPhone or the iPod Touch icon. The actual thing that it will say is, let me just load it up. So it will say, after archiving, you will see the following error: iPhone/iPod Touch icon.png icon dimensions and brackets 0 × 0 don't meet the size requirements. The icon file must be 57 pixels in a PNG format. Now, this problem is only related to Lion. It doesn't happen on Mountain Lion. And it's not just from the BuzzTouch people or BuzzTouch forums. I have looked on that through the whole internet, and it just says no, it's just a Lion issue, and it only happens in 10.7.3. So I'm on 10.8, so I can't demonstrate that for you. However, I can tell you what to do. Simply what you do is you download the application loader from the iOS Dev Center. So I'll show you what it looks like. It will look like let me just go to my development. So here we have do you see this one here? Second one on the top row to the left. It's called application loader. So it's basically like a piece of paper with the kind of triangle on it, the development triangle, and that apparently works. I don't know, I haven't tried it myself, I haven't got this error before. I've just been looking on the internet. And then basically, after you've installed that from iTunes Connect or the iOS Dev Center under Downloads, quit and restart Xcode, do a product clean, and then field for archiving if you want to archive it. Of course, you'll only get this at archiving. So basically, just install the application loader. I don't know what that does, but apparently it works. Quit and restart Xcode and do a product clean. I'll show you where to get the download for it. Now start the wrong way. Typing has gone all wrong. Can't type today. So, right. So.
Excuse me, Thomas. While you're doing that right now, just want to give you a heads up that you've got about 15 more minutes left, and
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and let people know that they could post up their questions to get ready. I think David's got a few things he wants to tie in there too as we get closer to the end. So, just want to give you that 15-minute warning.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I'm actually just coming to the end, so hopefully we'll be able to get this thing wrapped up soon, so I can answer some questions maybe. Now then, you need to go to downloads, wherever that's gone. Where has that gone? Let me just find that. Right, so if we go into the iOS Dev Center again, hopefully, yes, there we go. Right, so this will go into the downloads bit. Of course, this is Xcode. But now here, you'll find stuff for the application loader, stuff like that. So maybe just put in, you'd search application loader. If it should be integrated into Xcode, to be honest. And to prove that, I can go into my applications, go to developer, and then you see here, I just open up the package contents. This is just and then here you should, applications, it should be in there, already inside Xcode, so you probably don't need to fiddle with that. But if it's not there, then just go into the iOS Dev Center and search it. Okay, so how many slides have we got left? Oh, right, we're on to our last slide. Blimey. So, okay, so the last one that I'm going to do is sorry, that shouldn't be could. The other typo, couldn't. So, sorry for that. So, I did make this in a bit of a rush last night, but it's basically couldn't register the app name with the Bootstrap server. Now, what you need to do is this. I mean, but basically, what it basically is it generally means that another instance of this process was already running and is hung in the debugger. Now, that probably sounds a bit complicated to you, but basically something else has been going on. It's messed up the debugger, and that's about all I can understand in coding terms. So what you probably need to do with that is restart Xcode, restart the Mac, restart your device that you're testing it with, or all of them. If failing that, all of them, and that should just get rid of anything, the process that was running. Very rare that, if you quit Xcode and then open it again, very rare that it should still be there, but if so, just to be safe, just to eliminate all of that stuff. If it doesn't work, restart your Mac, restart your iPod Touch, iPhone, iPad, whatever. So, yeah, to be honest, that's me, to be honest. That's all I've done. So, I'll be very welcome for some questions.
Hey Thomas, I've got a few comments if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So this is David talking. I assume everybody can hear me. Warren was gracious enough to turn on my microphone. When Thomas said, hung in the debugger, I was thinking to myself, I've been hung in that darn debugger. The thing's a nightmare. But anyway, hey, I'm just going to add a couple of things real quick because I've got another commitment here in about 5 minutes, and so I wanted to touch on a couple of different issues. Warren, how do I share my screen?
I will make you the presenter.
Yeah, can you give me the screen or whatever? Let me know when you guys see my screen.
I
I
just
don't mind being bumped off.
Yeah, you just got booted, Thomas. Sorry, you got outranked.
Nah, I don't mind.
It's all part of it. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see yours.
yes.
So the number one thing for the audience to understand, and we'll get back to some of those things that you touched on, Thomas, there in just a sec, because they were really cool if you could understand them. The number one thing I think for people to understand about this Xcode environment is I find that most people think that Xcode is really, really complicated and really, really confusing. And they think that because they don't treat it like some of the other programs on their machine. In other words, if you were to open up iPhoto or iMovie or even Mail or any of these other built-in Macintosh programs, I think that the intimidation level for whatever reason goes way down. So the tip that I have for everybody is when you're working with Xcode, try to get your head around the idea that all of these menu choices and all of these options and everything that seems to be intimidating and all these build settings, all of these things, this piece of software works exactly like all the other applications in the Mac family of products, and I use iMovie as an example. If you're comfortable clicking around and experimenting with iMovie, then you shouldn't be intimidated by Xcode simply because it has a lot of options. Now, I understand completely that you might not know what these options represent, and that's fine, but just getting your frame of mind right and getting yourself convinced that, you know what, this is just a software program and I can figure out how this works, that's a big hurdle for people. Don't be intimidated by Xcode. And then the other thing that people don't understand about Xcode is, which tends to lead to errors, is they don't understand what it's for, what its purpose is. Going back to the iMovie example, most of us know what iMovie does. You know, it takes in our video content and it makes movies. Well, most people know what iPhoto does. It takes in our photographs and helps us organize and tag photos. But if you ask somebody what Xcode does, you get a lot of different answers. And so it does a lot of things, but what we want it to do is compile our source code. So all it does is it takes all of the different files that are included in your project, and it does the very best it can to help you validate that the code is sound and solid and it's not full of errors. And so obviously you can get really complex from that, but just treat Xcode just like you would any other piece of software. I'm going to use Xcode to take all these source files and compile them into my app. And if you can get its purpose understood, well, then all of a sudden all of these options that you see begin to make more sense. So as far as a lot of the issues that Thomas covered, most of those are 1.5 related, which is they're not really actually 1.5 issues. They're issues as it relates to 1.5 in the newer version of Xcode, because the older projects that we were downloading and giving you guys for a download were never designed to run in this new environment. So when you have the new environment, it becomes very challenging to compile the older code. And so we could talk quite a while on each of those topics like Thomas did, and it's great that he tried to explain some of them, which is cool. But I'm not going to really, I don't even really know how to elaborate on that, other than if you have to run version 1.5 still and can't compile with the older Xcode because you've upgraded, you're going to have some challenges, and he talked about some of those. But yeah, jump on the forum. We'll try to get you worked out. And then the last thing I wanted to do was send a shout out and a thanks to Thomas for creating that cool BuzzTouch Learning app. He surprised us yesterday with this gift, I suppose, or contribution to our community, and I'm excited to see where we can take that thing. I'm going to work on it a little bit with him now that I'm kind of on the same page. I was thrilled to see it, and then of course immediately came up with a bunch of ideas, and we hope to help Thomas show off in that app learning paths and maybe some plugins and maybe some interesting things on a map in terms of users and meetups and all different kinds of stuff, and we'll evolve that over time. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that that was a generous offer on his part and how much we appreciate him taking the initiative like that to do it. So I'm going to bow out of here, and I appreciate everybody's attendance, and I'll look forward to seeing you all on the forum. But bye for now. I feel a little bit rude for running, but I got to go.
Well, that's all. That's all right, David. We will hopefully see you tomorrow night with our next webinar. We've got an hour and a half tomorrow night, and Stobe is our presenter, Chris Robbins. And it's you could categorize it as a newbie webinar, but basically it is the roadmap from the very first time you log in to buzztouch.com. You've discovered it, you want to build an app, that whole roadmap to get from there all the way through getting your app in and live in the App Store. And
yeah, I'll definitely hang out in that one. And then Thomas also has the UK meetup tomorrow too. So
that's
Thomas,
right.
Be sure and plug that a little bit. Plug that a little bit for yourself before we go. But signing off, everyone.
Okay, thank you, David.
Okay,
bye.
See you, David.
Yes. Thomas, yes. Go ahead.
Right. So one thing I was going to actually say was, yes, the Oxford meetup is the Oxford for UK members is actually tomorrow. All right. Show my screen. So let me just if I can upload a new. Yeah, hang on. But anyway, the Oxford meetup is tomorrow, which is at 4 p.m. UK time. So there's more information on the forums. I'll be running a Google Hangouts for a few people, and also it will be streamed live onto YouTube, so anybody can watch it. So yeah, I mean it should be quite exciting, to be honest. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be my second meetup on it, on this, and I hope to get some quite a few people. So yeah, I mean, if you're in the UK, or you can come along, or if you're not, then you can watch it live on YouTube or join in on our Google Hangouts. So that should be quite cool. One thing I was going to say, just kind of an extension on David's note, was, yeah, I totally agree with him. Xcode should be treated as a normal application. It's not difficult, really. So yeah, that's basically just extending what he said. So yeah, I think I'm, to be honest, done, to be honest, now. I mean,
all right, Thomas. Well, thanks so much for your presentation today. I know we all appreciate it and got quite a bit of information out of it. Of course, this session, like all of them, we have recorded here today, and it will be posted on YouTube. It takes me a little time to get the video converted and then uploaded to YouTube, so it probably won't appear until tomorrow morning at the earliest. But as soon as I can get it out there, I will. And again, a reminder about tomorrow night, our 90-minute session with Chris Robbins. And then as our session went on here today, David and I exchanged a few chat messages. He will be presenting two webinars next week. One on Tuesday, midday, will be about localization. And then the Wednesday evening seminar, the 90-minute one, will be a technical description of how the control panel works. I know if you were part of the plug-in session, you saw a little bit of visibility into how the control panel works and how to make it interact with your plug-in or with your app. And he's going to go into greater detail on how the control panel works. So that will be next Wednesday night's session. And with that, doesn't look like we've got any real pressing questions there. Susan's got a few, and I'll pass those along to Thomas. Again, thank you, Thomas, and hopefully you'll have a good meetup tomorrow. And with that, thanks. We'll let everybody go. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.